another week, another show of Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara. Great to have you on board. Got another wonderful show for you lined up this week. I know you'll think so after viewing it. Here they are. What a group of people I've got. Kris Murray, Craig and Stacy Schroeder from Fight with Flash Foundation. First of all three of you, thanks for joining us. And Craig and Stacy, I know everything's going great with you. Kris, how's everything going with you, my man?
It's going well. Halfway through the season, feeling pretty good about our team and the accomplishments that we want to make this year. So,
I think you're well on your way. Well, the good news is, folks, as you know, we've had Keegan, Kris's brother, and I'm going to ask who's older, by the way. Who's the older brother of you two twins?
yeah, I have bragging rights on that. I'm older by about a minute.
Perfect. So it doesn't matter. You're still the older brother. Big brother Kris, then. We can say that officially. But we had Keegan on, and we're going to rerun that show in a couple of weeks, and we're going to do a couple different segments with Kris and run them throughout. So welcome aboard, viewers. Again, got a great show. And Kris, we want to find out a little bit about what you're doing now with my good buddy Connor White from Zoark Apparel. And you can see I've got the Zoark jacket on today. I've got Kris's little brother Keegan's shirt on. So we've got a nice apparel line. And I want Craig and Stacy to talk a little bit about your association with the Schroeder family, Austin Flash Schroeder. Craig and your dad, Kenyon, coached against each other when you and Keegan were little ones. And your sister, their daughter are great friends. A lot of connections here. But I want to tip my cap to you right away, first of all, for joining us and just being such a stand-up guy. Viewers, I want you to know, the day of the Wisconsin game last week, I texted Kris as he's smiling, and we all know pregame guys are looking for stuff to occupy themselves. And Kris was great to respond all the time about coordinating this interview. So first of all, thanks for that. But I think the work you're doing with our buddy Connor White and Zoark and donating a large percentage of your apparel line to the Special Olympics. Your brother Keegan donated a lot of his share to the Children's Hospital, University of Iowa Stead family. But that, to me, as Craig and I talked about Tyler Linderbaum a couple weeks ago, Craig and Stacy and I, how great it is that you're using the name, image, and likeness to such a great benefit. Talk about that if you would, please.
Yeah, I'm grateful Connor gave me the opportunity to be able to give back to my community. It started with a family that I met a couple years ago, the Shekels. Their son Miles is actually he's actually pretty famous in Cedar Rapids. He's been on KCRG a few times. He's a really good kid. I've gotten to know him a lot these last few years. And when Connor gave me the opportunity to give back to the community, the first thing I thought of was Miles and his family. And I think him being involved in Special Olympics, and he does the javelin, he plays golf in it, and they have a big part in it. So I'm just grateful to give back to them and their family.
That's great to see the smile on your face. Yeah. That's the passion you have for it. You can't hold that back. That's wonderful. So Craig and Stacy, my goodness, your tentacles everywhere with the McCaffrey family, but also now with the Murrays. And Craig, I'll have you and I talk a little bit about, coaching against Keegan and Kris when they were little guys, and you coached against Kenyon. And but Stacy, if you would first start off talking about the relationship with the girls of the Murray family. And so Kris, be careful, because I know your mom, Michelle, and your dad, Kenyon. So we're on social media together. So I've got a few tidbits I'm going to throw at you later on. So get ready.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, oh, boy is right. You know. But Stace, go ahead and just talk about that connection and fire away with any questions, even if they're basketball questions. Really hold Kris's feet to the fire for me, please.
No, actually, their whole family is truly, they're a remarkable family, great people. I just love that our daughter, Haley, has gotten to play for so many years. She's basically grown up with playing basketball with his sister McKenna. So, and we just being around their family, and well, it's just kind of fun actually meeting you here now. But McKenna coming over and getting to chat. She's always so nice, so sweet. Haley is such a good friend in her, and so it's just kind of fun being able to have that connection with you guys. So, and the parents, he's got such great parents too. So
it is nice that I was able to connect you two. See, after all these years, Stacy. So, Kris, now get ready. See, that was the easy part. Here comes your feet being held to the fire. You know Craig, so look out, Craig. I yield the table to you.
No, I mean, I first wanted to say that, I applaud you for what you're doing to give back, and Dave and I, we've talked about this, the name, image, and likeness thing. When this first all came out, how many people were completely against it, people getting paid for things. But you guys, you're doing an unbelievable thing, taking that and that opportunity and turning it into something positive, powerful, and motivating for others. And it's one of those things. not everybody's going to do that. And but to be on the forefront of the first year of this happening, and for you and your brother and others that want to give that money back, it just says a lot about who you are, who your brother is. But we know your parents, and that's not surprising that you guys are raised right, and we just absolutely just love your family, and we can't say enough of great things about them. And like Stacy said with McKenna and Kiki, it's you play sports to be able to compete, to be able to learn life lessons, but the friendships that you get through these are unbelievable, and those friendships can, in some situations help you get through the most difficult times as you go. And we know that Ken and Keeks definitely have that type of a friendship, which is awesome. Interesting as we talk, and I remember the boys playing baseball against Flash. And basketball as well. They come down to North Liberty, and their dad had his organization that he ran and brought them down and to play. These kids were fifth, sixth grade doing this, and they were lighting it up from 3-point all the time. And it's crazy. It's like, oh my gosh, these kids are younger. Don't worry about them. And I'm like, oh no, they weren't really shorter than anybody, and they weren't afraid to shoot, and they could definitely shoot. And so we were constantly in trouble, but it was always fun to play against them, and also always fun to be on the other side of the bench from Kenyon as well. So,
well, Kris, you're chuckling, so I'm going to let you talk about that. You mentioned your experience. You remember playing baseball against their son, Austin Flash Schroeder, and gosh, it's hard to believe when I talked to Keegan about this summer that it's been 6+ years now that Austin has passed, but. Talk about your experience. Remember playing against Austin, but also what was Coach Schroeder like? What was that like playing against him?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It comes full circle now. But I just remember Austin as just a kid with a lot of energy. He brought a lot of energy to their team, and he just seems like he's a great kid just because of all the people you see surround him, and especially to this day with our basketball team too. It's pretty cool with the McCaffreys, how much they've kind of taking that all in the Fight with Flash Foundation. For sure. It's just really cool to see how great that's progressed, and
it means a lot for sure.
No problem. But Craig, I'm glad we had our battles back in the day. The North Lady Rec Center, those leagues, they were fun. So it was kind of cool to see how people would guard me and Keegan because we like to shoot the 3-ball a little, just a little bit. But no, it's kind of cool to kind of see us come full circle and be able to finally meet you guys face to face. You guys are a great family. So
thank you.
I don't know what else there is left to say. I usually just get in the way and muddle these things up, so I'm going to leave it right there. Craig, Stacy, I can tell by your smiles, passion. You're going to get us all choked up, Stacy. Be careful. And but Kris, you too. I can see the passion and the mutual admiration that everybody has in the families, and that's just a little slice. I wish you viewers we could maybe sometime we'll run our off-air edits. But it was great to hear Craig talk about trying to. As Kris is chuckling here too. Craig was trying to come up with a special defense for these two with his fifth graders, and a little bit got lost in translation. We'll leave it at that, right, Craig?
Absolutely.
As it does. But hey, again, I want to thank Craig and Stacy Schroeder, Fight with Flash Foundation, via Facebook page or fightwithflash.org. Craig, Stacy, great stuff as always from you. Look forward to catching up with you in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Always my pleasure. Kris, you and I will be back with more in just a little bit. You good to go?
sounds good.
Thanks again. Yeah, that's Kris Murray, by the way, not Keegan. We got Kris. We got the older big brother today, so by 1 minute. So we'll look forward to talking more with Kris Murray here with me, Dave O'Hara, on Hawkeyed, back in just a few moments.
In farming, everybody knows relationships drive the industry. And with Merschman Seeds, you've got a friend in the field. Hi, this is Joe Merschman. We're the friend that delivers with extraordinary speed. We're the friend that shares knowledge and innovation. We're the friend that cares about your yields and profits. And we just happen to have the most advanced seed technology in the industry. When you choose the best seed, you also get the best people. Merschman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Hi, I'm Joel from Tice Chevrolet. We've lived through some very interesting times the last few months. Ensuring everyone's safety is more important than ever. That is why we're participating in the Chevy Clean program. At your request, we will pick up your vehicle, service it, and return it after we've cleaned it using the current CDC guidelines. This is just another way to work towards exceeding your expectations. So give us a call and let us show you what it means to be part of the Tice Automotive family.
Welcome back to Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara. There
Kris
he is.
Murray.
He's
Yep.
still here. What'd you?
Didn't leave.
So that's the difference right there. Your mom told me I could tell you and Keegan apart. You're the funnier of the two, right?
Yeah, I've been getting that. I don't know how, but I guess I'm pretty good at one-liners, what the team says. So
I like that. You got one in past me, for crying out loud. So yeah, you are good at that. But yeah, Kris Murray, Iowa Hawkeye basketball player, older brother, we found out in the previous segment by 1 minute. So you're the bigger, older brother to Keegan. I like that. Very good. Well, let's do this. Let's get into this year's basketball team. It was great talking with you and Craig and Stacy Schroeder in the previous segment about your connection to Fight with Flash Foundation, knowing Austin Flash Schroeder. But I want to mention again, a thanks to our good buddy Connor Weiss from Zoark and your apparel line, and this is your brother's apparel line. So Keegan is taking some of his proceeds and for name, image, and likeness with Zoark and going to the Iowa Stead Family Children, University of Iowa Stead Family Children's Hospital. Yours is going to the Special Olympics, but I just, as Craig and Stacy and I and you were talking about in a previous segment, very commendable by you to be that way and do that with your good works. So let's get into the Iowa basketball team this year. My goodness, we're recording this coming up before the Indiana game on Tuesday afternoon. And by the way, he's going to be recording a segment, Kris is, for the Journey Part 2 with the Big Ten Network today. So we got to get you out the door. All types of interview stuff going on. But let's talk about this year's team. And boy, tough loss without your brother Keegan. At Purdue, you had Illinois beat at Carver and let that one get away. You did beat Maryland, lost a tough one to Wisconsin last week. Nice pre-conference season. But talk to us a little bit about how things are going this year, how you feel things are going. I love listening to guys like Jess Settles, Big Ten Network analyst, was on this show last week, played with your dad, Kenyon, knows your dad very well. You're a legacy recruit like Keegan is, and it's interesting to hear. And Jeff Horner, when he recruited you guys, he's at Truman State Division II, and he said, "Oh, Dave, these guys I knew were beyond Division II, but not a lot of love out of high school. Western Illinois was the only real D1 program. You guys went to prep school for a year. But the one thing, I love the national media now saying, oh, these guys can shoot. And you were telling Craig and Stacy Schroeder how you and Keegan could always shoot, but Jeff Horner and Jess Settles both said, oh, Dave, the Murray boys can shoot. So let's talk about all that this season, but the national perception. I love all these Johnny-come-latelys now that, oh, Keegan and Kris are pretty good. As you're chuckling. Isn't that amazing to hear that now?
Yeah, it is. Just from where we were a couple of years ago, it's hard to believe that, especially Keegan to this point, getting the national recognition that he's getting is really cool. But yeah, team this year, we've had a couple games we let slip away. At Purdue, I feel like we had them right where we wanted them. Down 2 with 2 minutes left, just let that slip away. Illinois, it came down to rebounding, something that we're going to be working on a lot just to get better at this next couple games and really put an emphasis on it. So yeah, and I think kind of back to the being able to shoot thing with Jess Sells and Jeff Horner. Yeah, we've been able to shoot our whole lives because 8th grade to about my sophomore year, we were always undersized. So I mean, that's one thing that kind of helped us separate ourselves. And we kind of thought we were going to be point guards after our sophomore year because we weren't growing. We were like 6 foot, 140 pounds. It was really small kids. But yeah, I'm glad to see that both of us are shooting the ball really well this year. I think that's something that we've had our whole lives, and it's just kind of working on other parts of our game.
See, there it is, viewers. It finally came out. Every post player or forward wants to be a guard. There you go. Even when you were little, you had that in your mind. But I got to tell you, Kris, when I see that, and your left-handed stroke, and you know, Keegan's got this nice right hand, your mom told me, now, if this is true or not, we're going to bring up the golf game in the next segment, so you can think about that. Oh, see, right there, you saw his reaction. We'll save that for the next segment. But am I right when your mom told me that Keegan does everything left-handed like you do except shoot a basketball? She said your dad taught him to differentiate you two. He shot right. Is that true? He does everything else left but shoots right?
Yeah, that's true. Like everything, golfing, bowling, hitting a baseball, like everything. I'm not sure why my dad did that to differentiate us, but I mean, people still have trouble like figuring out who's who on the court. So I mean, I guess it still works. But yeah, he just let me do my thing and help Keegan develop a right hand, which is kind of unique because he does everything else left-handed.
I must tell you, watching you guys on the court together, it was the Wisconsin game where you were getting taken out. And I hate to bring this up because you made some great shots. You had a great game against Wisconsin. You personally and team, you were hanging around for a while, but you had a turnover. And I loved watching you two walk off the court. And Ever, the brothers, he looked at you and he said, bounce pass. And so Fran was also talking to you, but I like to see that you two are each other's cheerleaders. And, Keegan has talked about this last year, especially when he was getting the lion's share of the minutes with Luka Garza, Joe Wieskamp, and that team. But now this year with you playing, I love to see the camaraderie. Obviously, your brothers are going to have that support system, but you still kind of get after each other a little bit, don't you?
Yeah, he gets after me a lot, especially this year since I'm playing a lot more. But we've always had that kind of dynamic where we want to help each other out, and that was kind of my role last year to him, was doing that. And I think this year, me being on the court a lot more, I can still help him do that. And I think he's doing a good job this year as well, just kind of being able to help me out, especially since it's my first year getting pretty good minutes. So
yeah, let's go there with Joe Wieskamp being gone in the NBA now, Luka Garza, NBA, Jordan Bohannon, Grandpa Jordan, as you guys joke, is back. So you've got some good leadership. You from last year, also Keegan, but Austin Ash, a mutual friend of ours and the families. But it's interesting to see, and I notice Austin does a lot of coaching, from the bench. He can see things when he's not playing, kind of like you did with Keegan last year. Talk to me about that dynamic a little bit, how some of the returning guys, Joe, Toussaint, who is still faster with a basketball than most people are without. True?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Crazy.
But yeah, you've got a lot of experience, and Patrick McCaffrey, for that matter, and Connor, great leadership. Talk about that from last year to this year, what's carried over. But my goodness, you guys get that ball off the backboard and off you go. So it's fun to watch. As you mentioned, you got to work on some defense and rebounding. But talk about that, if you would, please, as a player, getting more minutes now, but as a bench player, seeing all that with Wieskamp, Garza, Bohannon, the McCaffreys, and now where you're into playing and taking that advice from them from the last couple of years.
Yeah, last year we had great vocal leaders. We also had leaders who led through their game. And I think that's kind of what you want on a team that can be special. And especially this year too, with those guys all leaving, we have great vocal leaders in our locker room. And after every loss, none of us hang our heads. It's positive. It's just trying to get better the next day. And Connor, Jabo, are great vocal leaders for us, and Keegan does it. He's vocal sometimes, but he does it a lot through his play and encouraging others. So yeah, our leadership in the locker room is doing pretty good.
Yeah, you guys, to say the least. But let's wrap up with this, and we'll get to other things in the next segment. But I really want to talk about that, if you would, where you go from here, being a legacy recruit. Your dad playing at Iowa. We mentioned the Jeff Horners and the Jess Settles and all the coaching you had over your life from your dad. Was there added pressure to say, okay, we got to go to Iowa, we got to go to prep school, we got to get it right, we have to go to Iowa? Or you were happy, as you mentioned, doing your own thing? Did you and Keegan kind of get together and say, yeah, we want to stay together? How'd this all play out? What brought both of you here?
Yeah, honestly, coming out of high school, I didn't think that I'd go to Iowa. I was kind of getting some looks from D2s, not really D1s at all. So prep school was the option. Even going to prep school, I didn't think that I'd end up at Iowa, but here I am. A lot of schools were looking at us, and when we came to visit, believe it or not, I haven't really been in Iowa City all that much.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been in North Liberty a ton. Iowa City, really not really. So haven't been on the campus at all. So it's kind of pretty new to me, honestly. And I fell in love with the campus, fell in love with the culture there, and it was a great fit with Keegan and I and Coach Fran.
That really has been. And boy, I tell you, from Cedar Rapids Prairie High School to go to Florida and then back to Iowa for the winter. So you must love the cold weather because you're here. But it's great having you in Iowa City at the University of Iowa. So Kris, thanks again. And we're going to be playing the third part of this interview in a couple of weeks. So I'll talk to you in a few minutes. We'll be back with more Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara, and Sean Bock, Hawkeye Insider, will join us in just a few moments. Back with more in a minute or two.
Hi, I'm Joel from Tice Automotive Family. We're living through some of the most interesting and challenging times many of us have ever seen. Knowing who you can rely on is more important than ever. Many of us turn to our families to get us through, and the same holds true here. From our fair upfront pricing to exceptional service after the sale, we truly want to exceed your expectations. So give us a call or stop by and let us show you what it means to be part of the Tice Automotive family.
Who do you trust to produce the best yield? A seed company that's chasing technology or a seed company that's writing the book on it? Hi, this is Joe Mershman. Mershman Seeds has been treating soybeans for decades, long before it was commonplace. We're the leader in technology, introducing Mershman Seed's latest advancement in seed treatment with an added fungicide to help produce a faster, more even emergence every single time. Who can you trust with your yields? Mershman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Welcome back to Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara. Sean Bock joining us, HawkeyeInsider.com. Sean, so much to get to with you, and I say that at the start of every segment, but my goodness, we had great interviews with Kris Murray, the first two segments, so let's get more specific with football and a little bit different basketball than the Iowa Hawkeyes and Kris Murray. So you having a good New Year? Everything going well with you?
Yeah, I graduated in December, so working full-time at 24/7 Sports now, so it's been gotten more time to do that, which has been nice and a lot less stressful with no school. So it's been good.
Absolutely. Welcome to the working world, as they say, although he's been working it for 3.5 years, so it's not like it's a benign concept to you. So let's get to the All-American Bowl with Xavier Wongpa and Aaron Graves. Had good games, and that was played last Saturday. Wongpa going to be on the university campus moving in Saturday, January 15th, and going to start working out, and then Graves will be here in June because he's going to get through a wrestling season. But let's talk about their performance, please.
Yeah, he's Xavier Wongpa is one of the 6 early enrollees that are expected to move in this upcoming weekend. He and kicker Drew Stevens are probably the 2 guys that I keep an eye on to potentially make an impact next year. So those 2 guys getting on campus is really big for their development for next year's team too, because they're filling in at spots where they could potentially play. Kicker, Stevens being kicker, Caleb Shudak leaving. It's probably going to come down to Drew and Aaron Bloom from Oskaloosa. And then at the free safety spot with Jack Kerner leaving, that's a spot that Wongpa can take over as well.
Kerner leaving, Dane Belton gone.
Right.
We know Kyler Schott is gone. We don't know about Tyler Linderbaum, yet.
Yeah.
So we've had some departures. Of course, Goodson didn't play in the bowl game, so we know he's gone. But let's talk about some basketball now. Let's go into. Aaron Graves also had a sack early in that All-American Bowl, and then he almost got another one, so he played well. So Graves will be finishing out his wrestling season and coming to Iowa, so we're excited about that. Let's get to high school basketball. Got to talk briefly about Iowa City West, and before we get specific with Josh Dix, Owen Freeman, and Price Sanford, but the prize recruits. But man alive, you look at Iowa City West with Jeff Moe's son, Peter Moe. You've got Kareem Earl, A.C. Earl's son, Jack McCaffrey, obviously Fran and Margaret McCaffrey's another basketball-playing son. And then you take a look at Billy Taylor's son, blew his knee out or hurt his knee and won't be playing the rest of the year. But that Iowa City West right back up to the ranks where they were a couple of years ago and for a long time.
Yeah, it's kind of nice because they're right in the backyard here in Iowa City, so I don't have to worry about going to Des Moines to watch really good high school basketball because they were down for City West being down the last 2 years, or a couple of years. So it's been good to see those guys back, and they have a really good squad. Very
good stuff. So let's go talk about your trip back over the holidays. You got a chance to see Owen Freeman play. You're a Chicago area kid originally, suburbs, and Owen's there, Bourbonnais, and boy, he's healthy again, playing well, so no more foot issues. He was at Iowa on campus for a visit over the holiday break. You got Josh Dix is playing well over by the Council Bluffs, Omaha area. And then, of course, Price Sanford, Waukee or in Des Moines area, Peyton Sanford's younger brother. So let's talk about those 3. What have you seen so far from them this year?
Yeah, I went to go see Owen at the State Farm Classic in Bloomington, Illinois. So that was my first time going to see Owen in person, which was actually the second time I've seen him in person. Went to go see him over the summer, and he was a really promising player. More of a face-up guy right now, as opposed to back to basket. I'd like to see him, get that part of his game really locked down. But, he's got a lot of upside at that 6'9", 6'10" size. And, I met his parents too, very impressive people, very, they were really good athletes too as well.
Former college athletes.
Both still in college basketball coaching, the mom especially. But yeah, he's definitely got a lot of upside to him. And, Iowa's taught to him about the 3 through 5 positions, but I think it'll be more 4 or 5 depending on, how he keeps growing, how his game develops. But he was a really good early addition.
And now with Price Sanford, there's some other options, not just Iowa.
Yeah.
There's other schools coming after him. And then let's talk about Price for a little bit and then close out with Josh Dix, please.
Yeah, Price Sanford, Waukee Northwest has had a really good year. I think he's averaging like 27 points per game or something like that. Iowa and Drake were the first 2 offers. And, a lot of people assume he's going to go to Iowa because Peyton, but, it's going to be more open than that. But, Washington State came into the mix. Clemson's close to offering. There are a number of schools keeping close tabs on him, and he's a really encouraging prospect.
Yeah, you'll keep us posted in about 15 seconds on Josh Dix, please.
Yeah, a classic combo guard. Can shoot, can, score, can pass, plays a little too unselfish at times, I think, but that's just personal opinion. But he's a really good pickup for Iowa.
That's awesome stuff. Sean, great stuff from you as always, the recruiting guru right here, HawkeyeInsider.com's very own Sean Bock. Sean, my friend, thanks so much. We'll catch up with you in a couple weeks.
Yeah, Dave, thank you for having me.
My pleasure as always. For Sean Bock, our buddy Connor Weitz and Zoar Capero, also Kris Murray, of course, and Craig and Stacy Schroeder, and to you, the viewers, for tuning in. Thanks so much. We'll look forward to catching up with you next week. For Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara, that's all from me. Thanks to all of you. And as always, thanks for staying tuned at the end of the program for these rolling credits to give our advertisers and sponsors the attention and credit they so richly deserve. And as always, to our aforementioned guests and to you, the viewers. That's all from us at Hawkeyed. Thanks to all of you.